rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Grand Rising, everybody. Happy Wednesday to all of you out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And of course, we have another great episode for y'all today. Thank you so much for joining us. Got to bring in my guy, Big O, co-host with the most. What up, Big O?
Good morning, Trevor. How are you?
Grand Rising, my friend. I'm doing well. Happy Wednesday to you.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, halfway through this week.
Yeah, making it work, you know?
A few more days to go. Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Morning Update Show and remind you, right now is a perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. We've got SoundCloud right there in the links, but you know, you can also go to Google, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Also very important right here is that the COVID-19 vaccine is readily available right here in King County. We've got a link going in over there into the comments. You can just click the link and you can find somewhere close to you where the vaccine is available. I want to remind everybody that the vaccine is free. It is free. If anybody's telling you to pay for the vaccine, run fast. And in some cases, you can get vaccinated at home. They'll bring the vaccine to you. It's a good service, huh?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I know that people are also going through their insurance at different drug health stores, pharmacies, and things like that. So it's really all over the place. But King County is being intentional to make sure that there are spots available if you need it for free. So please utilize that service. It's a great service that the county is providing, trying to make sure that people stay safe and healthy.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I just put the link in there right now. We're a little short-handed this week, by the way, but it's a good skill set here at Converge because everybody knows how to do a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? And big shout out to Selman, who's live directing over there. I got it right, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, you see what I'm saying? Shukran, brother. All right. Who's live directing over there. So we're all pitching in. It's a bit of a short show today as well, but we're going to cover a few things here. We had an update. Is that also the news from the border? We talked about the Haitians down there yesterday. And so apparently the U.S. government is now allowing some Haitians into the U.S. They had been like flying them right back to Haiti. And I think that some of the images, not even images, what's really going on down there at the border in Texas was so impacted people. I said on all sides of this issue. Usually things are real politicized here, but I think what we saw coming out of Del Rio, Texas, was very disturbing on a lot of different levels. So right now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring asylum seekers in. Although, they had initially said that they were just going to be flying and repatriating them back to Haiti.
Well, this is a great update, as we talked about this entire time when we've been covering this is, how are we being compassionate at the end of the day? And I think that this is really a step in the right direction. It's kind of shocking that this wasn't already the case to begin with, because it's not as if, it's unknown what's going on in Haiti. It's very widely publicized, widely known. And so the idea is that many of those folks that we see out there are going to be seeking asylum. I'm glad that we as a country are really making note of that and are adjusting our protocols and doing something different, because the way that we've been dealing with it has been atrocious, to be honest. And I'm really glad that this is a step towards really bringing people in a way that is, going to be measurable and okay for them to really find the resources that they need. It's important.
Right. And, there's thousands. This morning, they were saying at least 9,000 in one of these camps down there. I doubt that everybody is going to make their way into the U.S. But the fact that yesterday or 2 days ago, the head of Homeland Security said nobody's getting in. It was like, we're putting them all on planes, we're sending them all back. And so there has been some shift. We'll see, how long literally that door stays open down there. But man, there's border security, and then there's also humanity and what we saw out there. And these are people should understand, these are people who they're not refugees from the recent earthquake or political unrest. A lot of these people left Haiti 5 years ago. I think it was 5-6 years ago, when there was a massive earthquake there. And then they moved over to Central and South America. And a lot of them had, jobs in Brazil and in other countries. And then they've migrated up there to the Texas border to try to enter the United States. So these aren't people who just ran from Haiti a few weeks ago and now they're over there. These are people who've really been refugees for years and just trying to find a home. So next up, what do we got here? Keeping it on the short timeline. Oh, I got a big shout out to my Auntie Georgia. She's watching down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Hey, Auntie, I forgot to get that wine. I'm gonna be back by there. What do we got here? We've got evictions. Yeah, there it is. So with sixth extension of COVID-19 eviction moratorium, Seattle buying more time for federal aid, new programs to help tenants and programs. So yeah, this is from the Capitol Hill Seattle blog, our buddy Justin Carter right there. I'll go ahead and put this one into the comments. Man, for a lot of people, depending on who you talk to, Seattle has dodged a bullet. If you're a renter behind on your rent, with the eviction moratorium now moving out until January 15th, 2022. And I mean, also there's different programs people are trying to look at for landlords or small landlord relief, because it's an awful long time. The small landlords, all landlords, but particularly small landlords, have gone without getting rent.
Yeah. I mean, when I read up on this, you have a lot of strategists, particularly financial strategists, that are talking about the ways that we can be doing and moving and adjusting to what COVID has brought really in all of our lives. And when we think about understanding a real freeze on this, to say, you know what, throughout this time, no one was getting paid, not just small landlords or big landlords, but the lenders of those loans for those properties, that if there's a overall freeze where everybody understands we're not going to receive revenue from renters during this time, we're going to also not be receiving them from small homeowners and people that own certain properties, because people are really struggling. There is just going to be an all-around freeze. Yes, for anybody who can afford to pay their rent, do so. And then that's just some money that, we're like thankful that it's coming in, but for everything to kind of be frozen, as really, this is when I say a kind of a top-down approach, because it really does need to come from federal regulation. So I love that that's in there in this article, that all these moratoriums have really been waiting for some type of, if it's a stimulus package or something else that says, okay, this is how we're going to deal with, our renters in this nation and in this country. That's really what's needed right now. So again, we'll see how this plays out. I think the Biden administration has a real opportunity to do something that is innovative, that is bold, but that's also really necessary in this time that we find ourselves in. And when we talk about, really caring for families, stimulus has been okay to inject certain money into the economy, but ultimately we're talking about people and their living. This is really serious, because you got to have, they say food, shelter, and water, right? And at the end of the day, we do a lot of work for those that are unsheltered. And now we have to really be thinking about those that have shelter, that have the opportunity, or maybe really the unfortunate burden on them, that they may end up losing shelter because of COVID. So this is something that really does need to come from a federal perspective. I'm glad that article mentions that.
Yeah, well, and also as well, there's resources in this article put out by the Capitol Hill Seattle blog, Justin Carter. There's some links in there. It talks about the program with the King County courts and some everything else. Really want to encourage people to take advantage of anything that you can do to get ahead of your rent, because one thing for sure is it's not going to continue to get pushed out. I know we keep saying that. This is the 6th time now that it has, but I really don't see it past January of next year. If you have an opportunity to take care of your rent, please take care of your rent, right? Moving along here, what else we got? So there was supposed to be an unveiling of the new BLM mural, and this was last Friday, but change in COVID laws, weather, whatever it was, they didn't quite unveil it the way they wanted to, but they sent out a release here this morning. New long-term Black Lives Matter public art piece installed at Seattle City Hall. And this says here, the city of Seattle is proud to partner with community leaders to create this new long-term installation celebrating Black Lives Matter in front of Seattle City Hall. For years to come, all those who pass on 4th and Cherry will see this celebration and profound impact of Black Lives Matter movement is having on our city and in our country, right? That's from the mayor's office right there. If you remember that Steve Hickey, producer Steve, was over there while they were doing the installation last week, I guess 2 weeks ago now, he was doing the installation. So thought we'd play that clip of the new BLM mural being installed.
So today is a real special day. We get to finally put in a Black Lives Matter mural with the caption, "Enough is enough," here on the sidewalk of 4th Avenue on the east side between James Street and Cherry Street. This particular one was agreed upon with the director's office, the mayor's office, and some of the organizers from different art galleries and community members in the community, we decided that 4th Avenue, like behind me, on the sidewalk, and what's neat is it's facing City Hall. And that way, when the cabinet and council members or the mayor or whoever's there looks down, it's a constant reminder that, you know, Black Lives Matter and enough is enough, you know. So it's a very special piece. It's another destination for the city and tourists, and anybody can come and see it and enjoy it. But it's a statement piece, and it's one that's going to be here forever. And I'm just happy and proud to get to be a part of it. I remember hearing the word in my mind, enough. And at the time we were working on the Capitol Hill, I wanted to add the words enough is enough, but that piece was already established and the artist already had what they were going to do. And I didn't feel it was my place to interject or to add any ideas. And I was asked to bring out, make some different options. And so I created 3 different variations of Black Lives Matter. And the 3 got taken back to the community group and the organizers, and they voted on the 3 that I proposed. And fortunately enough, my favorite one that says Black Lives Matter, enough is enough. Everyone's invited this Saturday here from 4 to 7 p.m. Saturday the 18th. There'll be an unveiling and different organizations and sponsors will be here. So come on out.
Absolutely. Another, great story right here when it comes to the recognition of the Black Lives Matter movement, but also just that Black lives do matter outside of the movement. And, I love how this press release specifies that, this will be there. They did it in a real durable way with durable materials so that, it can last at least 5 years, but that there will be continued maintenance on it so that it lasts for a really long time. And that's really something that I love to see and hear. One of the things that we talk about as a city is we understand that tourism is a high part of almost any major city in America, right? When you think about revenue coming into the city. And so having another point that people are like, hey, not only the gum wall, not only the BLM mural on Capitol Hill, let's, check this one out right there in front of City Hall. And it does make a statement, the fact that it is facing City Hall. So I love how he said that there, that when they look down, they're reminded of this message over and over again, because there is a need for this reminder to be a part of the decision making that's happening right there at City Hall. So, great job to all of the artists. I also love that, some of the SDOT employees are also muralists and they have understanding of art, and they were being able to be a part of this entire effort alongside community members. So great work all around.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I actually saw it the other day, and it's durable. That's for sure. They use some good durable materials there. One more thing here before we go to break. I thought I would bring this up. They're going to talk about this big tomorrow on clapback culture. But do you know what missing white woman syndrome is?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So let me tell everybody here. This is one definition. Missing white woman syndrome is a term used by social scientists and media to refer to disproportionate media coverage, especially in television, of missing person cases involving young, white, upper middle class women or girls, compared to the relative lack of attention towards missing women who are not white or women of lower social classes and missing us men and boys. The phenomenon has been highlighted in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and South Africa. And this is kind of coming up right now. It comes up every once in a while when media jumps on one of these things here, but it's unfortunate. And also, I want to make sure I'm not making an equivalency here. That this case of Gabby Petito, who was found murdered now, that the coroner identified her body. This is a story that's captivated all the national news outlets. Major coverage. Major coverage there in Utah, across the Southwest, also down in Florida and everything else. And as a father of 2 daughters, it's tragic, and there isn't a but to that. That's tragic. And if it was my daughter, I would want the world's media covering or trying to help and find answers, right? So I want to be clear on that. The issue around missing white woman syndrome, though, is that when there is a missing white woman, that it gets extensive media coverage. In this area here, where unfortunately where Gabby was murdered, there's been over 700 missing people, mostly indigenous. And we forget we actually have to have whole campaigns when there's missing or murdered indigenous women, and let alone all across these other communities here. And so what we're seeing in the news the last few days is there is people actually talking about the missing white woman syndrome.
This is important. I think as we think about what it looks like for us to be learning lessons from the past, and I think that's what really makes us better as we move forward day by day. But the truth of the matter is that I'm glad that this is being addressed. I remember when I was at King 5, there was a couple cases, and you had a lot of chatter in the newsroom around people saying, but what about this person? How come we're not highlighting this? How come we're not sharing this story of this Black family or this indigenous family or, this particular individual that's non-white? I mean, these were things that were happening back then while I was there in the newsroom. And it's really intriguing because a lot of the times in major media, stories come off of the wire, right? And every news outlet has access to this wire. And so whatever their producers pick up oftentimes is something that is happening at a national level for a lot of these major media outlets. So the idea is that, some are saying, oh, well, this story is now getting, national attention. Let's make sure that we're also putting it on our local station so that we can be a part of sharing and telling this narrative. But I think it's really important to note that what you highlight there, about there being over 700, missing persons cases that really have not gotten this attention out of the same location. It really, really bodes to understand the parameters and the characteristics of missing white women syndrome. So I love that this is now being talked about again. And you're right, it's been hit or miss over the years, as people dive into one story versus others. But we've been literally, I know when we had National Indigenous Day, we talked about the fact that there were so many women that have been missing in the indigenous community. And that was a day that, people were supposed to wear red, really in recognition of this. And the idea is that it comes from like this community voice, and it's never really like major media saying, this is a story we need to be telling. Really is disheartening. And I don't want to compare the two either, but I think that this is a real example of what we're talking about in terms of what gets picked up and what doesn't.
Right. And one of the things we talk about is that most of the newsrooms across America, the majority of the newsrooms are news director is a white man who comes with his own unique perspective of what's an important story and what's not an important story. And it's so many. I mean, like I said, I would try to be objective about things. If I was her parents, I would welcome that. Of course, you want everybody talking about it, try to find some answers. And really that media coverage allowed other people who happen to see this guy who's currently a suspect or a person of interest, because they saw this coverage, like, oh, I saw this guy, and they found a video on their phone, or I saw him here, and it's really helping the police put this case together. But it really makes you wonder that it's like time and time again when people of color come up missing, especially women. And what we talked about is that there's so many women that have come up missing of color that are equal in stature. It might be from middle class or upper class, went to college, a social media influencer, and this, and so just all across the spectrum that we see here. And it really is like a syndrome. And we really see it. And like I said, when we think about it, we really have to have whole campaigns, and especially in our indigenous brothers and sisters have been yelling at the top of their lungs for years they've been yelling at the top of their lungs for someone to pay attention and for someone to care about the missing and murdered indigenous people. And of course, we have these struggles here in our community as well. But I will say that I'm glad that this is a conversation that's now coming to the forefront. And this is something that the media itself, has to look itself in the eye and be like, okay, well, how can the media collectively do better on coverage around these stories?
I agree with you 100%. Oh, and I think one of the big things to really examine the most from a major media perspective and for all news directors out there is, are you chasing the sensationalism of a narrative, right? Are you looking for that clickbait? Of course, everybody wants to have viewership. That is a part of media. It's a part of television. I understand parts of that. But I think when we're talking about something here that Omari says really locally all the time, that our council members have the opportunity to connect with the stories happening right here in their location around rising gun violence. Why aren't they saying anything? Does it need to be driven by the fact that you saying something is now a part of a larger narrative that you get to be a part of? At the end of the day, I think it needs to be about people being able to examine themselves and look within themselves and see that there is a real need for champions of these stories around our indigenous women, LGBTQIA, our trans women that are out there, that really are one of the number one categories of people that are oftentimes overlooked when it comes to major media stories. And they're suffering tragic losses, not just deaths, but also missing persons cases. And you can see this in the data. And so at the end of the day, the stories are not matching the ways that data moves when you're talking about the people that are missing and that are going through this exact situation here, that when it swarms in, you talked about it so many different ways throughout our history. The white woman, is this thing, this figure that, is supposed to be so cared for and it's so delicate, but it's not really looked at the same when you're looking at Black, indigenous, or trans women. And this is very clear in even our healthcare disparities. So really, it goes beyond just missing persons cases. It's about people understanding that there is a real care and compassion that needs to be at the bottom of all of these things driving stories. And unfortunately, I think one of the major things is that people will see that there's a dip in numbers if they're talking about an indigenous woman or a trans woman or a Black woman when it comes to missing persons cases, but they're looking for that clickbait. And I think that's really one of the things around major media that we have the opportunity to change.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's crazy because we get feedback, some solicited, some unsolicited, and they're always like, man, well, how come you guys either here on the show, but especially like on our social pages, they're like, how come you guys aren't putting links to this story or that story or whatever? I mean, and one, we kind of, unless it's a national story that's, directly impacting, we try to keep it local. And they're like, yo, you'll definitely get more viewers. You'll definitely get more clicks and traffic. And as a media company, that's exactly what we want. That's music to our ears. And for us, we kind of stay away. Especially because it's sensationalized stories. And that's, we've been intentional in a sense. We have lower traffic. We would have much higher traffic if we pulled this headline and pulled that headline and pulled this. And I'm talking about mostly on our social platforms. If we pulled all these different headlines and put them there, but I think that we always want to be consistent in how we cover things as well. And it's hard to be consistent on the news that you cover if it's just the latest, hottest headline and everything else. Yeah. But all right, we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, it's time for Support Black Business. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006, with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
Businesses are largely in COVID. Small businesses have been almost twice as likely to shutter.
Disproportionately so.
More than half of Black business owners
struggling to obtain federal paycheck protection.
COVID-19
on African Americans. You know, somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, to the late night legends and the pioneers of legacy. For the curators of the culture, for the family franchise, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Apply today for a variety of business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us to help your rise.
Welcome back, everybody, to the morning update show.
Which one? You got pick one? No,
there we go.
You know this is my segment, Chief. Right? There you go. All right. Welcome back to the morning update show. Right now it's time for my favorite part of the show, which is support Black business, powered by No Excuses. All right. So this is the last of three in a segment of businesses that we spotlighted at the Link Project there on Union. East Union Street in Seattle, just a few blocks up from 23rd, the Link Project. And we ran into Eva Hutchins. And Eva, interesting story. Eva spent a lot of time living in Thailand, said that her parents actually still live in Thailand. And back here in the U.S., and actually main job as a nurse, but during the pandemic, like a lot of people in our community, picked up a side hustle and initially started selling masks. And said she talked to a mentor. And mentor was like, yeah, masks is cool, but you should really get into something that you love and are passionate about. And Eva, passionate about fabric and textile, forged a relationship with a group of women over in Thailand who actually create these different home decor textiles, which she's selling. So not only is it just a regular small business, but she's also an importer, importing her goods from Thailand. Interesting story here. This is Eva Hutchins, and the name of the business is In Her Threads.
I'm Eva Hutchins, and I am the owner of In Her Threads. So In Her Threads is a textile business, all home decor, and basically all of our stuff is made equitably in Thailand. I used to live there, and my parents still live there, and so all of our products are very unique because the fabric you can only get in Thailand, and it's all made in limited quantities. And so we work with a woman business, like a sewing shop in Thailand, and we pay them equitably, we pay them what they ask for, and we know these women. And so it's actually really special to me because I used to live there and I know the women that sew for me. And so I know where my products are coming from. So I feel really good about that. I'm an importer, and this business pretty much is like my passion and my side hustle. So by profession, I'm a nurse. And so this has been a really fun, like creative business for me to do. And I've been on Etsy, and I'm just trying to get onto Amazon right now. And then I've been doing pop-ups like this. So it's been really fun. I love the Link Project. I love the Link Project because it's a community of like-minded people. And I love the idea of Black people having ownership and having a place where we can show our products and feel comfortable and meet people and network. I think it's very important to have something like this, and it's been great. I've met a lot of people through this or things like this. People love it. So people like the fabric. So people love to touch fabric, feel it, and like home decor is a big deal right now with everyone working from home. And yeah, it's been good. Good response. Well, when the pandemic hit, one of my friends was sewing masks and she was doing really well. And so I went onto YouTube and learned how to sew masks, and I did actually pretty well. And then I thought I need to pivot. I need to do something else. And I had a mentor, and he suggested that I try to find something else to do. So I thought of things that I loved, and I love fabric. And I love Thailand. So I was like, okay, what could I do with this? And so I kind of just went down the rabbit hole of finding what should I do. And it came up with this business, In Her Threads. I'm on Etsy. I have Etsy shop, In Her Threads LLC. I also have my Instagram, In Her Threads LLC. And then I also have my own website, so inherthreads.com. So you can check me out any of those ways. And then I'm also here at the link. So my products are here. If you ever want to come down and shop here, my stuff is here as well.
Wow, amazing story, Eva. And thank you so much for sharing your passion with the rest of us out here in community. And clearly, as a digital Etsy shop, you're also doing it globally. Congrats to everybody who's been out there over there at the Link Project. This is really such an amazing story because, again, one of the things that I love when I'm talking to business owners is their origin story, right? And everyone has something so unique. And I think the pandemic, COVID-19, has birthed a lot of businesses because people were like, look, I needed to find another way to make income or supplement my income. My hours got reduced, whatever it is, my job, I lost it, whatever. So there's so many different reasons, but even with a common thread like COVID, being able to birth some of these ideas or get people to finally leap out on faith on these ideas that they may have had for years, I just really appreciate hearing people's origins and the fact that you were there in Thailand and now you're bringing those textiles right here to Pacific Northwest. And again, through Etsy, you're doing it globally is a beautiful thing. But I also think it's so unique because the textiles you're choosing over there in Thailand may be different than someone else choosing different textiles in another place or even in the same place. And so the unique and specific nature of In Her Threads is alive and well. Thank you so much for sharing. And I hope you guys are encouraged to support businesses like In Her Threads. These businesses thrive because we become consumers. We become lovers of their brands. We bring them into our homes. And honestly, Eva's doing great work there and deserves more and more customers. So shout out to you, Eva, and the whole team at In Her Threads.
Yeah, no, good stuff. And actually, I bought some. I bought some stuff. I didn't keep it though. Like I bought it and then asked Eva to give it away, and then she did. I was like, oh, man, we came here to make people smile today. Leave some money in the community and make people smile. And so I actually got a chance to pick it up, feel it, everything. It's high quality stuff. Make sure you check out In Her Threads. And that comes to Black Business Relief. Black Business Relief. All right. Want to remind everybody. So Rudge Rub closed on the 20th. And what we got going on right now, Comcast Rise. Comcast Rise is in there. It's $1 million that they're giving away in small businesses in King and Paris County. And right now, up until October 1st, is a time for people to review the requirements. And no, you don't have to be a Comcast customer, but review the requirements. And then the application is open from October 1st to October 14th. Now, these are $10,000 grants, and we're really targeting Black businesses. So link is there. And, if you're a Black business owner, $10,000 grant, and fill out the link. If you know somebody, go ahead, fill out the application and everything else. $1 million. And, part of this, my conversation with Comcast was like, hey, man, we want to see this through to the end. I've been rocking with Lewis almost 40 years. So like, I know it's all good, but Comcast, it's a new discussion with them. And so we said, hey, we don't have a problem amplifying this and getting the word out, but also we want to be there when this $1 million comes out and goes into community for small businesses.
Really important to always follow the money. It's one of our recurring themes here on the Morning Update Show. And one of the things that I really want to encourage business owners to do is to take advantage of this time where you get to understand all of the parameters around the application. Look, oftentimes that is not the case. I think Comcast is being very intentional to have this open window. When you talk about until October 1st, you can look at what is needed. You can gather your documents. You can get your paperwork ready so that when the application is alive and well and they start accepting applications, you're ready to go. That is something that I think has not been built into a lot of systems. Oftentimes what we've seen in the past is these funds come up, and especially when they're coming from a high corporate entity like a Comcast, they kind of open it up. They don't really announce it a whole lot. They're not really intentional about hitting the Black community or trying to hit Black news outlets. They're kind of like, yeah, we did a press release, we did a couple of little posts, we did a statement. Okay, that was good enough. Whoever we get is who we get. But they're being really intentional here, and they're also trying to make sure that the barriers are not a burden to the application by giving you this time to really review everything that you need. So please take advantage of that time.
Yeah, no, definitely good stuff. We're going to stay on top of it and stay compiling opportunities for you guys. You can always go to link in bio as well, our link in bio, and you can find some links right there to grants and opportunities for Black businesses. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, talk about a few upcoming events, and then we're going to get out of here. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Got a short show here today. Talk about a few upcoming things, right? This is one that I'm really excited about because the Black Tones are actually going to be here in studio on October 1st. This is part of the Pier Sound concerts at Pier 62, the Black Tones Earshot Jazz Festival with Devon Lewis and friends, and Tiffany Wilson and Lady A. It's good to see concerts back at the Pier. I mean, it used to be a big thing back in there. I remember when Anita Baker came to the Pier years ago. I was like, yo, concerts at the Pier. So it's good to see the Pier active again. And like I said, the Black Tones will be here on October 1st, and then they're over there at the Pier on October 2nd.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting to be able to catch up with the Black Tones and all the things that they've been doing. I mean, they've been on the scene in Seattle and now beyond for many years. And I just really remember their beginnings and being able to be like, wow, you got Black folks doing these amazing rock songs. They have a great plethora to their repertoire of music. And so I'm so glad that they'll be joining us. But also, you're right. I mean, the Pier has always boasted amazing talent, bringing talent from all over the place to be right there on our Pier. And it's such a great thing to see that the Pier is vibrant once again. It's gone through so much reconstruction, just kind of being in that zone as there was so much going on, again, on the streets that necessarily just like inadvertently impacted the Pier. So I love seeing that there's going to be some amazing concerts. And I got to say, man, Tiffany Wilson and Lady A are phenomenal as well. So I'm really looking forward to this concert series.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time down there on the Pier. Let's see. I got a note here for today. Today is 7 o'clock. We'll put that up. Seattle News, Views, and Brews with Brian Callanan and the very wordy and nerdy Kevin Schofield. And, Brian has actually been like in Switzerland or something. Like, I mean, people talk about commitment, man. He's like in Switzerland following everything. Him and Kevin, they got their show. And so tonight at 7 p.m., Seattle News, Views, and Brews. It's loaded up. It's ready to go. It will be there. For any last words before we get out of here, Trey?
Oh, for me, always, see yourself as a part of the solution, guys. It's so important that, we all be pouring our love into, making the things better for all of us, for future generations, for the present and the future, and really learning the lessons from the past. So I encourage you all to see yourself as a part of some amazing solutions out there.
All right, good stuff. Again, tonight, 7 o'clock, Seattle News, Views, and Brews. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Man, it's a clapback culture you don't want to miss. I mean, Mike Davis and Julia Jesse are hitting on a whole bunch of topics. If you haven't tuned in a while, it's a time to tune in. If you've never watched Clapback Culture, tomorrow, 7 p.m., I invite you to tune in. Mike Davis from the South Seattle Emerald, Julia Jesse from right here at Converge Media. So it'll be real dope. On that note, let me remind everybody, go forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day.